I always knew Nathan resented me. Growing up, he was the golden child of the family. Straight A's, perfect SAT scores, acceptance to all the top colleges. I was the quiet one, the tinkerer who spent weekends in my garage workshop instead of attending the family gatherings where everyone fawned over Nathan's latest achievements. "Why can't you be more like your cousin?" my parents would ask. "Nathan's already interning at Goldman Sachs, and you're still playing with computers." What they didn't understand was that I wasn't playing. I was building, creating, innovating. By 17, I developed my first machine learning algorithm. By 22, I had 3 patents pending. But in our family, nothing could compete with Nathan's traditional path to success. Until now. The email from the patent office sat open on my laptop, confirming that my latest innovation, a revolutionary AI-driven security system, was officially protected. After 5 years of work, countless sleepless nights, and every penny of my savings, I was finally ready to launch SecureFlow Technologies. My phone buzzed with a text from Nathan. "Heard about your little startup. Cute. Want to grab coffee? Maybe I can give you some business advice." I stared at the message, my finger hovering over the delete button. Nathan had been working at a major tech investment firm for the past 3 years, and he never missed an opportunity to remind everyone of his expertise in the industry. But maybe this was his way of extending an olive branch. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet. The coffee shop was crowded when I arrived, but I spotted Nathan immediately. He always dressed like he'd stepped out of a business magazine. Perfect suit, perfect hair, perfect smile that never quite reached his eyes. "Alex," he stood up, gesturing expansively. "Look at you all grown up and starting a company. Dad mentioned something about security software." I slid into the chair across from him, clutching my laptop bag protectively. "It's a bit more than that. SecureFlow is an AI-driven system that can predict and prevent security breaches before they happen. The algorithm learns from—" Yes, he cut me off, waving his hand dismissively. "Very interesting. But Alex, be realistic. The security software market is dominated by major players. What makes you think a small startup could compete?" I pulled out my laptop, turning it to show him the prototype interface. "Because none of them have this. Look at the response time, the learning capability, the way it adapts to new threats in real time." For a moment, something flashed across Nathan's face, surprise, interest, before his expression settled back into its usual condescending smile. "Impressive for a hobby project," he said, taking a sip of his coffee, "but scaling something like this would take serious capital. Have you even thought about funding, market strategy, distribution channels?" "Actually, yes. I pulled out my business plan, the one I'd spent months perfecting. I've already had preliminary discussions with several venture capital firms. The early feedback has been very positive." Nathan's smile tightened slightly. "Oh, anyone I might know?" Quantum Ventures expressed interest, and Innovation Partners. Innovation Partners. Nathan sat up straighter. "Marshall Davis's firm?" I nodded, trying not to show my satisfaction at his reaction. Marshall Davis was a legend in the tech investment world, and though Nathan didn't know it yet, he was scheduled to see my full presentation next week. "Look, Alex," Nathan leaned forward, his voice taking on what he probably thought was a kindly tone. "Why don't you let me help? My firm specializes in emerging tech. We could acquire SecureFlow, develop it properly. You'd get a nice payout, maybe a consulting position." "I'm not looking to sell," I said firmly. "This is my company, my vision." "Don't be naive," he scoffed. "You really think you can run a tech company? You don't have the experience, the connections." "I have the technology," I countered. "Everything else can be learned." Nathan sat back, studying me with narrowed eyes. "At least let me see the full technical documentation. Maybe I can offer some suggestions before you embarrass yourself in front of serious investors." "The technical details are confidential," I said, closing my laptop. "But thanks for the coffee." As I stood to leave, Nathan called after me. "You're making a mistake, Alex. You're not cut out for this world. Stick to small projects in your garage where you can't get hurt." I should have listened to my instincts, should have recognized the dangerous glint in his eyes. But I was too focused on my upcoming meetings, too busy preparing for SecureFlow's launch. 1 week later, everything fell apart. The email from Innovation Partners arrived at 3 a.m. due to concerns about the originality and ownership of your core technology. We are canceling tomorrow's meeting. Evidence has been presented suggesting that SecureFlow's key innovations may be derived from existing patents. My hands shook as I opened the attached document, a detailed technical analysis comparing SecureFlow's architecture to a supposedly pre-existing system. A system that had been filed for patent protection just 2 days ago, by a company where Nathan was a senior investment manager. I spent the next hour frantically checking other patent filings, my heart sinking with each discovery. Somehow, someone had accessed my technical documentation and filed patents for similar systems across multiple jurisdictions. SecureFlow's unique innovations were now buried under a web of competing claims. My phone started ringing. Other investors canceling meetings, partners pulling out of agreements, potential clients distancing themselves from the controversy. Then came Nathan's text. "Try to warn you, cousin. This is a big boy's game. Better luck next time." I sat in my dark office, surrounded by 5 years of work that had been stolen in a matter of days, and felt something inside me break. Not in despair, but in anger. Because Nathan had made one crucial mistake. He'd assumed I'd kept all my technical documentation in standard files, the kind his corporate hackers could easily access. He didn't know about my real development servers, the ones with timestamp commits going back years. He didn't know about the blockchain records I created, proving the evolution of my work long before his company's suspicious patent filings. And he definitely didn't know about the backup drive I'd given to Marshall Davis personally 3 months ago, long before I ever mentioned Innovation Partners to Nathan. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I'd been saving for an emergency. "Marshall? It's Alex Chen. Remember that situation we discussed? The one you said might come up with certain aggressive competitors? It's happening, and I can prove it." Marshall's response was immediate. "Send me everything." "And Alex, the invitation to present at next week's industry showcase still stands. I think you'll find the audience very interested in what you have to share." I smiled grimly as I began gathering my evidence. Nathan thought he was playing a game of corporate theft. He was about to learn he'd walked into a trap, one that would expose not just this betrayal, but years of similar schemes his firm had perpetrated against other startups. Little did he know, his perfect reputation was about to crumble in front of the entire tech industry. And this time, everyone would be paying attention to the quiet cousin who worked in their garage. The Silicon Valley Tech Showcase was the industry's most prestigious annual event. CEOs, venture capitalists, and tech journalists packed the convention center, all eager to spot the next big innovation. I stood backstage, watching Nathan prepare for his presentation. He looked perfectly confident, of course. Why wouldn't he be? He thought he'd stolen my technology, buried my startup under fraudulent patent claims, and was about to present his company's groundbreaking security system to the tech world's elite. What he didn't know was that Marshall Davis had spent the past week building an airtight case against him and his firm. Every stolen innovation, every buried startup, every scheme they used to rob entrepreneurs of their work, all documented and verified. My phone buzzed with a text from Marshall. "Ready when you are. Legal team standing by." I took a deep breath, thinking about all the times Nathan had belittled my work, all the family gatherings where he dismissed my achievements. This wasn't just about revenge. This was about justice, not just for me, but for every innovator his firm had crushed. Nathan stepped onto the stage to enthusiastic applause. The giant screens behind him lit up with his company's logo as he launched into his well-rehearsed pitch. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, smooth as ever, "today we're unveiling a revolutionary advancement in cybersecurity. Our AI-driven system can predict and prevent security breaches before they happen." I watched the audience lean forward, captivated by his presentation. Nathan had always been good at this part, the show, the performance, the perfect corporate pitch. "The core of our innovation lies in our proprietary machine learning algorithm," he continued, bringing up technical diagrams that I knew intimately, because I created them. "Our team has developed a unique approach to threat detection." That was my cue. I stepped out from behind the curtain, laptop in hand. "Interesting algorithm," I said, my voice carrying clearly through the auditorium. "Would you mind explaining how the neural network architecture handles adaptive threat response?" Nathan's perfect smile faltered for just a moment. "That's proprietary information." "Really? I connected my laptop to the presentation system, and new windows appeared on the giant screens. Because I can explain it perfectly. After all, I wrote it. The audience murmured as my development logs appeared. Years of work, thousands of commits, all timestamped and blockchain verified. You see, I continued, advancing through the displays. What's fascinating about this proprietary system is that its entire development history exists on my servers. Every iteration, every improvement, every breakthrough, all documented years before your company's suspicious patent filings last week. Nathan's face had gone pale. Alex, this isn't the place. Oh, I think this is exactly the place. I turned to the audience. My name is Alex Chen. That revolutionary security system, it's called Secure Flow. It's my creation, developed over 5 years, with 3 legitimate patents granted last month. What you're seeing today is corporate theft on a massive scale. The room erupted in chaos. Journalists were furiously taking notes, investors were whispering among themselves, and security personnel were moving toward the stage. But I wasn't done. Marshall? I called out, would you like to share what your investigation uncovered? Marshall Davis stood up in the front row. My firm has documented 17 similar cases in the past 3 years. Promising startups approached by Nathan's firm, their intellectual property mysteriously appearing in competitor patents days later. A pattern of systematic theft that ends today. Nathan lunged for the microphone. These are baseless accusations. We have legal documentation. Fraudulent documentation. I cut in, bringing up more displays. Would you like to explain why your patent applications contain direct copies of my source code comments, including the Star Wars references I used to label my functions? A ripple of laughter went through the crowd. Nathan's face had moved from pale to ashen. Or perhaps, I continued, you'd like to explain this email chain from last week, where you instructed your tech team to scrub the metadata from stolen files? The same email chain you accidentally sent to my cloud backup address because it was listed in the copy documentation. You're making a huge mistake, Nathan hissed. But his perfect composure had cracked completely. Our lawyers will already be quite busy, Marshall interrupted, standing up. The SEC has been notified and the Patent Office is reviewing all applications from your firm for the past 5 years. But please continue threatening your cousin. I'm sure that will help your case. Security had reached the stage now, but they weren't approaching me. Instead, they moved toward Nathan as several official-looking individuals entered the auditorium. Mr. Reynolds? One of them called out. SEC Enforcement Division. We need you to come with us. What happened next would be talked about in tech circles for years. Nathan, the perfect corporate success story, having a complete meltdown on stage, screaming about family loyalty, about how I'd always been jealous of his success, about how someone like me didn't deserve to succeed in his industry. I gave you a chance, he shouted as security led him away. I offered to buy you out. You could have walked away with something, but now you'll have nothing. Our family will never forgive you for this. I stepped up to the microphone one last time. Actually, Nathan, I'm walking away with everything. My company, my technology, my integrity. And our family? I pulled up one final email on the screen, a group message from our relatives expressing their horror at discovering Nathan's schemes. They're learning the truth about both of us. The aftermath was both better and worse than I'd expected. Nathan's firm imploded as investigations revealed the full scope of their intellectual property theft. Several executives faced criminal charges, and dozens of startups came forward with similar stories of betrayal. SecureFlow's legitimate patents were confirmed, and the technology was recognized as genuinely innovative. Investment offers poured in, but I chose to partner with Marshall's firm, maintaining control while gaining the support I needed to grow. The family fallout was intense. Nathan's parents refused to speak to anyone for months. My parents, finally confronted with evidence they couldn't ignore, struggled to reconcile their image of their perfect nephew with the reality of his actions. But others surprised me. Cousins I'd barely spoken to reach out to apologize for years of dismissing my work. Aunts and uncles who'd always praised Nathan's corporate success now asked about my technology with genuine interest. Last week, at the first family gathering I'd attended since the showcase, my Uncle James, Nathan's father, approached me quietly. I owe you an apology, he said, his voice rough. All those years we thought Nathan's path was the only right way to succeed. We never understood what you were building, never took the time to see your brilliance. It's not about brilliance, I told him. It's about integrity, about creating something real instead of stealing from others. He nodded slowly. Nathan lost sight of that somewhere. Got so caught up in appearing successful that he forgot about being worthy of success. That conversation sparked a larger one within the family about values, about different paths to achievement, about supporting each other's genuine efforts instead of just chasing status. Yesterday, I received an unexpected delivery at my office. Now a proper corporate headquarters instead of a garage workshop. It was my old robotics kit from high school, the one I'd used to build my first prototype. The note attached read, "Found this in the attic. Thought it belonged with someone who knows how to build something real. Love, Mom and Dad." I placed it on my desk, next to the framed copy of SecureFlow's legitimate patents and a recent magazine cover featuring our technology. A reminder that success isn't about following someone else's path or meeting others' expectations. It's about staying true to your vision, protecting your integrity, and sometimes standing up to those who would steal what you've built, even if they're family. Especially if they're family. Nathan's trial starts next month. Some relatives think I should show mercy, ask for leniency. But real family loyalty isn't about protecting wrongdoing. It's about upholding principles that make us worthy of being called a family. Besides, as I told the SEC investigators, the evidence speaks for itself. Just like my code, my comments, my years of documented work. In the end, that's what matters in both technology and life. Not the story you tell about who you are, but the proof of what you've actually built. I'm busy building something new now, expanding SecureFlow's capabilities into exciting areas. And this time, when I present at the Tech Showcase next month, I won't be watching from backstage. I'll be center stage, sharing innovations that are truly mine, surrounded by people who value creation over theft, substance over appearance, and genuine achievement over stolen glory. Sometimes the quietest person in the family has the loudest truth to tell. It just takes the right moment and the right evidence to make everyone listen.